too hot for this.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are very sweaty in these parts today. This is future Ellis coming back from the future. Just to say that if you are looking for a sublimation printer video that actually successfully problem solves, this isn't it. This is me getting into a pickle, a bit of a pickle, and it turned out to be a piece of comedy gold, which I just thought I would keep and show you. I do get to a rather sensible decision making at the end of this video, so if you're here for that, please stick around, press subscribe, do the whole thing. It would mean a lot. You don't have to, it's fine. But yeah, just in case you were looking for one of those really helpful videos that tells you how to fix your printer, this isn't it. There's loads on YouTube. I cannot provide from this channel. Anyway, let's get into it. Right then, to my fellow British citizens, if you can hear a lot of swearing within the next 5-10 minutes, don't worry, it's just me here in the Midlands screaming and cursing because I'm about to re-enter the world of sublimation. Wish me luck. I need to clean and refill the cartridges. Everything is covered in dust. I should be ashamed of myself, but then again, this has all been living in the loft for like the past few years. I've not touched this for ages. I've got my little syringes at the ready though, so that I can refill my cartridges. Need to go through and make sure everything works. I've only got 2 mugs left, so we'll see how far we get, and then I definitely need to order some more, but this is just going to be like a little practice run and see what happens. I've got some heat-proof tape at the ready, my sublimation paper. Let's see if I can remember how to do this and try not to get into too much of a pickle. Okay, I am in my dressing gown. I'm just doing a workout and then it got really cold. So I was a slob and I put my dressing gown back on. Let's just see if we don't make too much mess doing this, but this is me we're talking about, so it's probably gonna happen. I got into sublimating like right at the start, and the whole process just freaks me out. It's the kind of process that makes you want to rip your hair out, and it does take a while to get used to, and there's a lot of trial and error, and I mean a lot, which is why I just put it to the back one day and I was like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. But one of my goals for this year is to actually make more of my stuff in-house, literally in my house, because manufacturing fees are only going up, and I've got this equipment, I'm just not using it, and I might as well utilise it, not be wasteful and not be scared. So I'm going to get asked the question. This is just an Epson printer that I have turned into a sublimation printer with reusable ink cartridges, and it's just sublimation ink. So these have a reusable chip on them, so that if you take them out and refill them, the printer doesn't throw an absolute wobbly like it normally would, because they're reusable ink cartridges. So just a little tip that I was told: if you don't know which side of sublimation printer paper to print on, if you lick, I've got ink on my fingers, so maybe not lick those ones, but if you lick your fingers so that they're both wet, you squeeze the paper, and whichever one the paper tacks to, so sticks to, that's the side that you should print onto. I think that's the right way around, but let's give it a go, shall we? Hello, so I've evicted myself from slobber mode and I'm now in a slightly more presentable get-up. Nearly made a rookie mistake, which was to not flip the artwork file obviously backwards, because sublimation, you need to print backwards, and it would have been no good for anybody because my test one is a text. It's a text print. I've made myself a mug with my son's name on it, so that if it goes wrong I can still use it and it doesn't matter because it's just gonna be mine. But yeah, just remember, I might tack it somewhere, Ellis, remember to flip your canvas. But let's see, I've put some paper in. This equipment now is like relic kind of material, but it's the best that I've got, and I spent a lot of money initially investing on all of this stuff, so I've just thought to myself it's best that I get it used and utilise it. I've also been saving various bits of packaging. I had some laundry tabs and I thought I don't really want to throw the box away, so I've used it to store my ink in. You heard it here first. And I've done a similar thing in one of my, this is where I keep all of my fabric items, and as you can see there aren't many left. This is my new basket of scrunchies, but it was a little gift that a family member got for my son, so I've used the box because they're the right sort of depth. This one is see-through, just a Winnie the Pooh like comforter and rattle set, which was super cute, but again I thought the box is like the perfect size, because look, the height of it for these Alex straws, it's perfect. Oh god, it's coming out, that is so dusty. Oh my god, that's shameful, that is shameful. The suspense is killing me. The dust in there is immense. Yeah, see, that's not looking good, so I will talk to you about that in just a minute and we can hopefully rectify this whole thing. Oh, it's fine. Because I'm hoping it's just because this printer has been laying dormant for literally 3 years. So Sublimation ink, this is the other one. I've just folded over the other one because I don't want my son's name on the internet. I'm hoping it's just because it's been laying dormant for the past like 3 years, but Sublimation ink is always lighter, but it shouldn't be that discoloured. So I want it to look like a fainter version of what I'm looking for, but just not a totally different colour altogether. So we'll keep printing. Luckily I have got lots and lots of paper. I don't think this is the kind of paper that goes bad when it's left, but we shall see. What a bizarre experience. In fact, what I should do is maybe see if I can clean the printer heads. That would be a brilliant place to start. Maintenance, nozzle check, head cleaning, head alignment. We'll do both, we'll do all of it. Nozzle check. Are there any missing segments? Yes, there bloody well are. I hate clean the print head. Yeah, do it. This is why I hate messing about with my own printers, because it's just one issue after another. And the thing is, once you've found out what the problem is, you need to refill your ink cartridges and buy even more. Don't let it put you off. This is meant to be motivational for both me and for you. See, this is why I fell into the trap of getting things printed for me, but then you realise that you spend an absolute fortune. A fortune. Oh, cleaning, please wait. Yeah, but for how long? This has been cartridges not recognised. Oh. But you recognised them a minute ago. So this is why I ran away from it with my hands in the air, just screaming. Like, I think some people make it look really easy. Okay, now it's saying replace the ink cartridges, so not recognised. Okay. Right. I'm just going to take them out and put them back in. Give the chip a little wipey wipe so it recognises all but one. Okay. We'll do that one again then. Come on out, don't be shy. Non-genuine ink detected. Well, obviously. Come on, tell me something I don't know. Do you wish to continue using this ink? Yeah, man. Finish. Nozzle check, head cleaning, head alignment. Let's do it. Okay, proceed. Load paper. Yes, sir. Print. I dreamed a dream in time gone by. What even is that? Select the square with the least streaks on the next screen. Well, was this fun? What is this game? No squares. Oh no. And just like that, my son's awake. The other thing could be, does ink go out of date? Which I can't see why it wouldn't go out of date as much as I can't see why it would go out of date. The print quality is improving though as we're going, so I've just run it through the machine once more. It's looking better. The colour accuracy is just tried. Yeah, that's not okay. You know what? It's the red. It's the pink rather. In fact, it's the magenta rather that's acting prat. Yellowy. Then we've got the second attempt, third attempt, not much different, but as you can see it looks like there's a colour missing. So it's very yellowy, green, blue, because blue and yellow makes green, that makes sense. So there is a colour missing from this combination, which is why my toadstools aren't showing up as toadstools, they just look like yellow flying saucers. I'm just going to give this a shake because I don't know if it's kind of separated whilst it's been in there. The black one had completely gone, whereas the other ones were still half full. And I don't want to waste ink if I can help it. Just like I don't want to waste mugs. I wish there was a way, because I only have a mug press, I don't have a heat press, like a big clamp. The goal one day would be to have a heat press with a clamp, like, is it called a clamp press? To kind of broaden the product possibilities that I can make within my own studio. But it's a space issue and also they're expensive, and obviously my relationship with Sublimation hasn't always been great, so that's why I've been reluctant to sort of branch out further. If we can get this working, maybe it might be something I invest in with the help of my patrons as well. We could make that a goal over on my Patreon to invest in some new equipment. But yeah, I wish there was a way of testing whether this print activates accurately with the heat before actually wrapping it around a mug, because there's no other way for me to do it. Something like an iron doesn't get hot enough that it needs a certain level of heat to be able to activate properly, which is what the machine offers. But we'll give it a shake. If this doesn't work, I may have to order some new ink because mine just might have given up the ghost. It's going to tell me now that it doesn't recognise the magenta ink cartridge. Don't even think about it. Replacement complete. We are done. Okay, let's try printing it again. Need some paper. If you came for something more exciting than this, I am so sorry. Believe me, I did too. That didn't make a difference either. So I'm going to go back and shake the rest of the cartridges. Not shake them, I don't want people to think I'm making cocktails over here, but I'm just going to give them a little wiggle just to see if it helps any of the pigment within the ink. We could have such a great time, you know, if we just cooperated. God, I make myself nervous. Checking cartridges. You just end up going round in circles. I can't tell whether that is smudged mascara or whether it's blue ink. Either way, it's not what I wanted for today. So, I can't find anything else wrong with this system other than the ink is not accurate. I've just done a bit of research. Probably should have done that 5 sheets of paper ago, which is how many sheets of paper I've used. So just in case you're worrying about how much stuff I'm getting through right now, it is only 5 sheets. They're right, 5 sheets. So it's not too bad. However, I have just discovered that the ink can go off. It can expire, and while some people don't have a problem with it and they find that it works, it could be what's going wrong with my printer here. With a bit of head cleaning, nozzle checking, alignment, the print quality is fine, so I don't think I've knackered my printer by just chucking it in the loft for 3 years. Although that was foolish, wouldn't recommend. Now I know that was silly. Should have taken the printer to bits before I did that. In hindsight though, I didn't realise how long a break I would have from this. I just thought I'll walk away for a bit and then I'll come back to it. Didn't quite realise the scope of all of the nonsense as well that would happen within the past 3 years. Things haven't been smooth sailing in these parts, and sublimation was the last thing that I wanted to be getting into. But I'm going to go and order myself some new ink, and then I'll come back, clean the cartridges out, like give them a damn good scrubbing, and then we'll see what happens. First things first, we need to empty the old cartridges of the old ink, give them a little bit of a clean. Not sure how we're going to do that because they have got a chip on them, but we're just going to give them we're gonna empty them and just hopefully that works. Okay, inks are replaced. Cartridges have been emptied and just cleaned around the outside. What I'm going to do though is use normal printer paper to do some more test runs, just so I'm not eating through all of my sublimation printer. And it'll be interesting to see actually if that comes out any differently on normal paper. So where I'm at right now is I think the print heads are blocked, so I have ordered a cleaning kit. The reason I've done that is because this printer is, I don't even think they sell them anymore. I'll have to have a look. But because, here's the thing, it's old, but it's not heavily used. So I'm just kind of like, it's always been a bit of a pain because it's Epson. And from my experience, Epsons have just been, I think you're either Team Epson or Team Canon. I'm more Team Canon, but that doesn't mean that Canon doesn't also have its own problems. I think you get problems with whichever brand you go for, but in my experience I've always had more problems with Epson, and maybe I'm just not destined to be friends with Epson. Don't even attempt to sponsor me, not that you would, but please don't. So if we take these off, there's a little sort of nozzle in there that you probably can't see because it's dark, but I've ordered a little cleaning kit. So all of these cartridges have actually been cleaned. I've spilt some ink in the process, but they're all nice and clean. The rest of the printer's lovely and clean because it's so lightly used, but I think because it's been sat sort of dormant so long and idle's probably a better word, it's been sat being idle for too long, I think it's probably got clogged up. So I've ordered a cleaning kit because other than that it's a case of sending it to an actual printer technician and paying more than this printer is even worth to get it fixed. And therein lies the issues with at-home printing. I'm going to talk to you a bit more in a minute about this whole thing because I do think it's kind of interesting and I've learnt a lot. It's a big decision-making process, so I'm going to pop you up on the tripod whilst I try and finish my frog and we'll have a little chat, shall we? So here's what I'm working on at the moment. It's a little frog illustration that I am working on as a little sticker for my patrons. I think I might do some more highlights and shading whilst I just chat to you. In fact, I'm not going to do any of that because my pencil's dead. So sublimation printing, I got into it when I first started to treat my illustration stuff as a side hustle, like a bit of a hobby on the side, and then I opened my Etsy shop. I looked into sublimating and thought, this sounds great. Did a ton of research, and I mean a ton. I spent weeks and weeks mulling over how to actually get started, and then aside from all of the research and the planning, you then have to purchase in all of the materials. So you've got your ink, your cartridges, your paper, your machine, whether that's the heat press, mug press, what sort of attachments as well, because you can get extra attachments for heat presses, and then there's obviously the whole printer malarkey, which there's so many printers out there. Whenever somebody says, oh, what printer should I get, I just don't answer that question because, as I say, I've had so many issues in the past with printers, so I don't want to recommend one because I've yet to find one that I truly love. I think no matter what, you get issues with everything, and also I don't know what other tech that you've got at home, so I don't know if I'm working on Mac and you're working on something else, whether it's going to be like easily compatible with that. It's just strange waters to sort of tread in, and that's another reason why I don't like to share my equipment details in depth, because I just don't want it to be on my head that somebody has a terrible experience with a bit of a kit and then they're like, well, it worked for you. Always take everything on the internet with a pinch of salt. So yeah, sublimating, it was never a smooth process for me. There was always one issue or another. There was always something that was going wrong. I found it difficult to get right, and I think the reason I found it difficult was I was always really unsettled by the amount of waste that you can like end up with from sublimating, because you have to spend a fair bit of time mucking about with getting the settings right. So it's not just chuck a mug in a press with some ink and paper and walk off and leave it for 5 minutes. You've got to work out the correct temperature settings for the product that you're putting in your press. You've also got to work out timing, so how long to leave it in there for. You've got to mess about with the scaling as well of the size of your artwork to then pop onto a product. So it's artwork files that you've got to set up as well. And just from messing about a lot, I've got through so many mugs before, and then I eventually like got to a point where I got the settings and the temperature right, and I was always in a bit of a place where I was like, well, I've not sold any of the mugs that I invested in because they're all destined for the bin, which was wasteful. And then I couldn't always afford to then go and buy another box of mugs to then actually, you know, continue, because sublimating can be very expensive too. It's all of these blanks that you're buying in, and if you're throwing half of them away because it's wasteful, you know, it's just a weird one to get into. I would say if you want to get into it, that's up to you, but I would also say to perhaps because I'd messed about printers a lot before, but this was a whole other kettle of fish. And now that I feel confident to do it, and I know that it's going to be, I'm going to have to invest a bit more money into it because it's obviously buying more mugs in. I'm at a place where if this actually works, if this flush through method actually works and the cleaning kit is successful, I will bring mugs back to my shop. And if it is successful, I will think about getting another heat press, so a big clamp press, so that I can venture out into different products. But if the flush through method doesn't work, then I need to think long and hard about where I go from here. And the reason is because I've got paper, I've got ink, I've got the mug press. It's just I will be without a printer. So the question is, do I fork out for another new printer? Done a bit of surfing on the World Wide Web, and printers aren't cheap, and the cost of materials is only going to go up. So I'm now in a place kind of where I'm like, So I do need to think long and hard about, do I continue with this journey that in the past I've not always enjoyed? Do I persist with it and carry on and try and not let it beat me? Yeah, basically, do I spend the money and keep going, or do I just nip it in the bud and sell off my mug press? So that's kind of where I'm at. But this is going to be the June sticker. So if you want to join Patreon, it's going to be the sticker that I send out in June Happy Mail. The hedgehog was the May one, so there is still a chance to get that one if you would like. And there are slots available. It feels really good actually to bring my Patreon to life a little bit more, because I've really missed doing Happy Mail. And I'm also today ordering in some art prints because I've started to build up the stash ready for reopening my shop at the end of the summer. So I'm very excited about that, and it'll be nice to actually get some physical products coming through my letterbox once again, because I really miss that. I need to go and locate my marigolds. I feel like I've stepped out of a Tim Burton movie today, and I'm not mad about it. We have a cleaning kit, and apparently I need to warm that up with some hot water. So I am gonna use the syringe with this nifty little tube to flush these heads out. Blotting paper goes under there. There we go. We have warm fluid. I'm gonna suck some of this up. Right, and now it's time to push it through. Apparently it says to do it really slowly, and if there's any pressure it means you've got a bad blockage, which, yeah, I can't push that at all. Yeah, I think my magenta is well and truly clogged. Because that wouldn't go through at all. I'm just gonna get some cotton buds because I think that will help absorb any drips and things like much more accurately. And luckily we've got a ton of these bamboo ones. Ah yeah, that's working. Okay. I have to say I am, although this is a massive pain in the ass, I'm learning a lot, so it's not completely useless, pointless. Big blockages going on. Honestly, I've just spilt the bottle on my desk. Oh, it's just an absolute effing calamity. You just can't make this stuff up, can you, really? Right, that's going through. You have to do it super slowly, but I think because mine is absolutely blockoed, it's best to just leave it. It says you can actually leave it overnight to do its thing, so that's also what I'm gonna do, especially with the magenta, because the magenta is dead. Do you see now why people, you know, a lot of sensible people who can afford to also do it, just get things made for them, because then you don't have to mess about with this kind of riffraff. Yeah, that magenta is blocked. It's not going through at all. So I think I'm gonna leave that one just sort of hooked on. The printer isn't plugged in at all, obviously, because we've already had a spillage. Because if the other ones go through, then I can just leave the magenta overnight. I'm out of blotting paper, so I'm just gonna make some. It says on their website that kitchen roll works really well, just in case you try that. I think it's probably good practice to just do this anyway, but I've never experienced anything like this before, so you know, you live and you learn. Yeah, look at all that. Yeah, the rest of them are fine, but I'm gonna leave the magenta one with the fluid. Just, oh, there we go. I also hang on to Ziploc bags whenever they come with like manufactured stuff, so I can pop these in here so they don't dry out and get nasty just whilst this is going to be soaking overnight. It's interesting actually that the other ones, like how easily the other ones went through, and then the magenta one is just being stubborn. Interesting that that one has dried out really badly and got blocked and others haven't. Can't believe my stupidity. Really just foolish. Why am I even here? Why am I doing this? Right, my ink cartridges are now safe and airtight in these bags, so they're not going to dry up, and I can just keep checking on this and see where we're at with it, and hopefully we can be unblocked by this time tomorrow. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Right, so I didn't expect, I kind of expected, let's just be honest, I kind of expected to end up here, but hoped that I wouldn't end up here. In true raw brutal honesty, my son is on the floor, like on a squishy surface, not just on the floor. Mother of the Year award goes to me. Yeah, I was hopeful that we would be able to fix this, or at least reach some sort of place of productivity, solutions, problem solving. That noise perfectly sums up where we're at, son. Thank you. Many thanks. All the best. So, after using a whole bottle of cleaning solution and doing multiple head cleans, nozzle checks, alignments, these noises are the best. Summarises this entire video so well. It does. Yeah, big smile. If it wasn't for him, I might have had a meltdown by now. I've had many meltdowns, please don't think I haven't. So I've made the decision to call it quits. This printer, I don't think it's salvageable. Now I have emailed my local printer technicians to inquire about a price with regards to replacing the entire print head. I know it's going to be more than the printer's worth. I did a bit of digging, and my printer is 7 years old. It is lightly used, however it is clogged, and it's really clogged. It turns out I've done a lot of research over the last week or so, which is the amount of time that I've been messing about with this thing, trying to kind of find a teeny bit of progress, and it turns out that because of lockdown and all of that kind of stuff, I'm not the only person that has had a dormant printer. There's a lot of people out there that has had exactly the same issue, and the fact that sublimating is renowned for blocking printers, because you don't get a sublimation printer, you have to take a printer and turn it into a sublimation printer. And then because you're taking ink that isn't designed really for that printer, and as soon as you put non-branded ink that doesn't match that brand of printer into your printer, you also automatically void any warranty as well. So that's why it's a bit of a risky business to get into. So yeah, it's a sticky, messy business to be getting into anyway, but because obviously sublimation ink is what it is, it's notorious for blocking printers. And because of lockdown and things, people just weren't doing as much, or they kind of just walked away from their printer for a couple of years. Exactly the same as what I did, and they've got blocked printers. Difference is they've managed to unblock theirs. What I don't understand about mine is I've managed to unblock 3 of them. They weren't really blocked to begin with, but I got them running smoothly. And then I was doing print head alignments and nozzle checks and all that kind of stuff, and they would get blocked as I was cleaning them. So because I was trying to get the magenta working, I'd run a sheet through, which is one of these bad boys, and then I'd run another one through on the other side, and there would be pieces missing. He's having a great time. There'd be pieces missing from the colour that literally the check before was absolutely fine. So then, because I have a really hard time admitting defeat, believe me, I will just keep going and keep going until I've achieved what I've set out to do. And I don't like getting a white flag out and shaking it above my head and being like, right, that's it, I'm done. The thing is, this is costly. It's already cost me a lot of money to even start dabbling in sublimation. To continue with it, I'd only be spending more money. I've already thrown another £40 at this just from trying to get it to work. That's with a fresh lot of inks and the cleaning kit. That's not even taking into account my time, and for that reason I've decided to say goodbye to sublimating. You remember that chat we were having the other day about sustainability? I'm not just talking about making it sustainable in terms of like waste and products and being eco-friendly. I'm talking about being sustainable when it comes to actually keeping my business alive and where I spend my time, so that I'm able to be present for my son as well. I've wasted so much time this week alone just trying to unclog this thing that I haven't actually done anything else. So in between taking care of my son and in like his nap time, when I could have been doing, you know, my self-care and all of that downtime stuff, I could have been doing that, and I could have been doing other prep to open my shop again at the end of the summer, and instead I've spent any spare time that I've had this week trying to fight with this thing. So herein lies my dilemma. At the moment, buying a new printer just isn't an option for me, because obviously my shop's closed, I'm on maternity leave, it's not achievable, and also I'm at a point with this where I'm like, it's a lot of money to then risk that again. And at the moment I don't know if even printing mugs would be something that would be successful in my shop, and therefore I don't know if my printer would be running often to keep the ink kind of flowing through it, and it would be basically back to where I was before, where I was only printing a couple of mugs here and there, and then because I wasn't using it very often, the printer clogs up, I get frustrated, I spend a lot of time trying to problem solve and fix and get to the bottom of whatever issues this is causing me, and ultimately it's a time waster. So yeah, financially not an option, and time is the biggest thing here. So even if eventually I am able to replace the printer, it's time at the moment that I just simply do not have. I would much rather put that time into illustrating some new products. I thought I was being like a bit of a whiner because I've never really liked the sublimating process. I wanted it to be smooth sailing, I wanted to get into it and for it to be like, I look at other people sublimating and I'm like, you've got it. Got it down. But upon doing research into problem solving and fixing printers that have been used for sublimating, I know now that I'm not alone in my frustrations and that it is a very frustrating technique. And I do think that when people are looking into sublimating and they ask all of the questions, what printer do I use, what ink do I use, what paper do I use, what heat press do I use, temperature, timings, what are the costs of everything, I don't think enough people, myself included, I didn't look at the long-term issues that come with sublimating, and do I have the time, patience and energy to dedicate to this particular technique? So that's why I have come to the conclusion that I have. It's just not something that I want to continue with, and I'm just going to say goodbye to it for now, probably for a very long time, until I actually get the courage to venture into this particular land of despair again. I've still got my mug press, I've got a fresh set of ink and beyond. I've now got 3 different sets of ink. I have paper. Luckily I didn't spend any more money on mug blanks, otherwise I'd have been busy. The printer is always the hardest bit. The printer is always the bit that causes you the most grief. I've never really had an issue with anything else to do with sublimating other than the printer. It's very hot, isn't it, baby? I'm sorry. Do you want to sit in the laundry basket? It's got loads of towels in there. It's nice, it's cozy. Before anybody gets upset, I'm not about to put my child into the laundry basket. This is the internet, so you have to kind of make that apparent. But yeah, it's been weird. And yeah, it's probably not the ending that a lot of you were hoping for, but I wanted to keep it real. Sometimes in business, and if you're even doing this personally, I think sometimes you have to make that decision, like at what point does this become more hassle than it's worth? Yeah! At what point does it start costing me my sanity, which, let's be honest, this is always costing me my sanity. I don't have that much left. It's good to keep things real, and it's good to be honest and show you that sometimes things don't go to plan. Things don't work out. Sometimes you have to draw a line under it. Sometimes you have to share that you thought initially it would be a great investment, and actually all you've done is waste money. There's not much payoff for it. It's just been a bit of a money pit. It's been a bit of a time guzzler, and yeah, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to other things, which I'm really excited about. I think I feel more relief than anything, because now I've made that decision that I'm just gonna nip it in the bud, move on, and just move on to things that actually bring me joy and are going to help me grow as a creative and as an artist, rather than waste more time messing about with this bit of kit. He's in a place at the minute where he just likes to lick and suck. He sucks onto my chin like. So yeah, I'm gonna bounce. It was fun. It really wasn't. But until next time, thank you so much for joining me on this particular chapter of small business life. Hope you enjoyed it. I sure as I did. And I'll be back soon.